so beautiful. 78 degrees, Jets football, and we're winning. That's what's going on today. That's why everybody's so psyched. This isn't no happenstance. This is a guarantee, just like Joe Namath said. See that?
There are few things in life you cannot put a price on. Loyalty, tradition, fierce passion. Today is a gigantic family reunion because finally, they're back.
Well, hello, Jet Nation. What an exciting time it is to be a Jets fan. Welcome to the Jet Nation Draft Day Report, I'm calling it. Why not? There are numerous people from the Jet Nation organization that are in Las Vegas right now at the draft, and I'm not. And I'm mad about it, okay? I'm just going to go out there and say it. Why can't I just say the truth? I'm upset that I'm not at the draft, especially when I was actually in Arizona. As many of you know, I was out there in Arizona. I was in Sedona, and the plan was to head up to Yellowstone with a little stop. Guess where? That's right, in Las Vegas. Why? Well, there's a couple roller coasters there I got to hit, of course. There's the Fun Dome or whatever it's called, Adventure Dome. That's what it is. But it was gonna be a little bit happenstance. Exactly the day of the draft. Now, hold on a second, guys. I forgot that I have to change the settings here on this account. I haven't done a live stream for Jet Nation since the season ended. So just give me about 30 seconds and I'll get you guys in to the stream. But yes, I was going to just happenstance be in Vegas the weekend of the draft. So that's the way it was going to go. But now instead, here I am a few thousand miles away in, you guessed it, Virginia. So, hey, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? All right, let me get this in there for you. I'm making the adjustments right now. Hold on. Here we go. Now we got to do it. Here it comes. You guys should be able to do it as of now. Let me know. Let me see in the thing. Hello. Yep. Okay, it's all good. So here's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to leave my envy and my jealousy to the side, and we're going to get to talk about a few things. Now, I want to make sure that it's that every stone is uncovered, is overturned. Every single stone. This is the point where, in the draft process, where Jets fans tend to get so into the players they like that they start to tell themselves that the players they don't like suck. That guy sucks. But it's not the case. It's not necessarily true. Yes, we all develop our favorites. We all start to look at certain positions as positions we want. We dig into the player profiles. We watch some highlights. Some of us even will watch full game tapes and breakdowns and all that sort of stuff. Now, once you're in there, you start to look at one guy and you go, meh. And then you look at another guy and you think, ooh, I like this guy. That's the guy I want. Therefore, the other guy that I don't like as much sucks. And if the Jets take him, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to fall to pieces. And that's not the case. Don't forget, we have 9 picks. We have 9 picks in this draft. And there are over 1,000 players available. How likely is it going to be where the Jets end up taking the one player out of the thousands that I want? More than likely, it's going to be another guy, right? Now, the good news is that up top, which is where a lot of Jets fans focus, first round, second round, that's just the most interesting portion of the draft for many, many fans. The good news for us is that we happen to have 2 top 10 picks in the first round, as many of you know, and we have 2 top 10 second round picks. So both today and tomorrow, we are going to be up early, and that makes it a little bit easier to wind it down and refine it to a player that we like. So let's focus on the position that many of us think is going to end up being a priority in the draft. Before I do that, I want to say hello to the few dudes that are in here with me right now. What's up, Snoopy? Snoopy's saying, Debo. Well, it's a funny thing because a couple months ago, remember, Snoopy, you were saying Cooper. And then you were saying DK. I think you were DK. I remember you definitely were Cooper. Now you're Debo. And we'll talk about what we're willing to lose to acquire a Debo before we end this one as well. King Blaze says it nice and simply. We'll see tonight. Yes, we will, King Blaze. That's absolutely what's going to happen. All of the smoke, all of the, of the chatter, it will all settle down tonight. We are here, King Blaze. What an interesting thing. Robbie Rhino, what's up, Rhino? Good morning, good morning, and good afternoon to you. What time is it over there by you? I still can't get it. What are you guys? 6 hours, I think, ahead of us. 6 hours. So that's going to be cool for you. Maybe take a nap beforehand, and then watch. I know down there in New Zealand and Australia, it's around noonish. The draft starts around noon in the middle of the workday. So I happen to know a few people that took the day off. Yes, I do. I know people that took the day off. Ed the Red is here. What's up, Ed? Love the new look. It must be draft day. Well, I'm just not wearing a hat, Ed the Red. That's all. I think I still have my glasses on. Whatever. I was out and about this morning in the sun. Very sunny here in Virginia. So it'll be, what's that, 225? 225. So that's not too bad. You still might have to take off some work, though. Still might have to take off. There he is, John Rogers down there. It's 11 p.m. in Australia. What time is the draft, though? Isn't it going to be around noon or so? I don't know how the time zones break down in Australia. I know New Zealand said it's going to be about noon. But yeah, we got a lot of dedicated fans around the world, everybody. L.A. McKay is here. It's going to be weird adapting to life without my no, right? But the good news is with that, McKay, is that a lot of us are kind of done. You know what I mean? A lot of us are like, good. Because, look, people get real excited with the mock drafts. And especially if they're newer to the scene. We had a lot of new content creators this year and just blowing up mocks. They were doing mocks every day, live mocks. And, starts to wear on you. By now, it's like good riddance. Let's see who it is. I've looked at every player enough. So today we're going to focus on the edge position. And the question of the video is going to be, is there really a bad decision that can be made? Is there a poor choice? Right? So we don't really tend to look at the players we don't like and think, all right, well, I like this guy, but I'd be okay with that one. A lot of us, we get very intense. That's just what we do. So I want Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau. So that means if they draft Jermaine Johnson or Karlaftis or Walker, I would lose it. I'd be pissed. But is that accurate? Is that real? Can the Jets make a bad decision in this draft? Now, as we know, we have the first few picks are not ours, right? So there will be 3 players taken before we get to choose anyone. Now, that can be looked at as bad news. A lot of us do. Oh, the one player I want is going to be picked. Out of the thousands of players, I only want one, and he's going to be picked before us. So we have to look at this realistically if we can. So the first guy that we've all talked about from way into last season was the consensus number 1 edge rusher in the draft, and that was Kayvon Thibodeau. Now, he had a strong season, maybe not the sack numbers that a lot of people want to see, but he did have a strong season, and he was the number 1 edge all the way through 3/4 of the season. Then Aiden Hutchinson had the 3-sack game. And it wasn't just the 3 sacks. It was how he did it, right? He like dominated the game and pointed at the tackle and said, I'm coming for you, and then rolled over him. And so it was really a lot of stuff. Aiden Hutchinson has kind of been ahead of Thibodeau since that day. Okay, now it goes back and forth a little bit, but Aiden Hutchinson has been the consensus first edge since then, for in large part until right now. Just a day or two ago, things started to switch around out there. And this is what's so funny about it, right? We have rumors and we have speculation and all this stuff. Now it looks a little bit different. But then you have guys like Jermaine Johnson, who was a part of the conversation, but was considered a mid to late first round pick until the Senior Bowl practices, where he dominated the Senior Bowl practices and then chose not to play in the game. Why did he choose not to play in the game? Well, we have to speculate, but a lot of people think it's because he did so well in the practices that he made his impression. He made whatever impression he was going to make, and they didn't want to risk injury in the game so he could secure his draft spot. He already got the positive bump from it, and he did. He was then talked about among the top 3 or 4 picks. Let's say top 5 picks. He was all of a sudden looked at as a top 5 pick because of the Senior Bowl practices. Now, the thing with injury, look, we could complain and say, he's this or that. He didn't play, but he chose not to play in the Senior Bowl game because he didn't want to risk injury. And then there's another guy out there, Ojabo, who was Aiden Hutchinson's counterpart on the other side of the line. What happened to Ojabo, man? You know what I mean? He went to his pro day and tore his Achilles. And now he went from pretty much a guaranteed first round selection to we don't know where he's going to go. He still might be a first round selection, but he could slide all because of this injury. And it's unfortunate. So literally he lost millions of dollars, most likely millions of dollars because of that pro day. So when you look at these guys who don't want to do the drills at the combine or they don't want to play in the Senior Bowl, it does make a whole bunch of sense. It does make a whole bunch of sense not to do it. Like we want to see them do it, of course, but when they do and they get hurt, man, is that upsetting. And Ojabo's he's a fantastic example of how bad it can go. So then you have Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker in the first portion of our offseason was literally talked about in the top of the 2nd round. Okay. I've even seen him mocked in the 3rd round early on. So Trayvon Walker, some people had him as a late first. We saw him really largely in the 2nd, early part of the 2nd round, and then even the 3rd. And then all of a sudden, he shot up draft boards around combine, and he was now being talked about as the number 1 edge rusher in this class. Then we have the old stalwart, Karlaftis. He was never considered the top guy. He's been bouncing around from like the 3rd overall guy. At one time, it was Thibodeau, Hutchinson, Karlaftis. And then he's been like going from 3rd to 4th to 5th. So that's kind of where everybody has him. Some people even had Ojabo ahead of him. And there's a few others that have guys like Nick Benito or Cameron Thomas ahead of him as well. But so that's where we are. So at 4, if we go edge, and even at 10, we're going to pick one of those guys. We're going to pick one of those guys. So I want to bounce it to the chat, and I want to ask you, number 1, if no edge rushers are taken in the top 3, which is also very possible if Jacksonville, I don't think they're going to go offensive line after the re-signing of Cam down there, but because they don't forget, they still got the young guy. What is it? Juwan, what's his name? Howard, maybe? Juwan Jennings? I don't know. But they got the other right tackle, who I liked a whole bunch coming out. So I don't think they'll use a top 4 pick on offensive line so much anymore. I did when Cam was just when he was just a franchise tag. I thought that's, I don't know. I just saw, in my opinion, they were going to look to me like they were going to take an offensive lineman. So I don't know, but let's say no edge rushers are taken. We don't know what Detroit's going to do. I think Detroit's taking Malik Willis. That's just my feeling. I've been saying it for a long time, and I've not wavered. I've considered everything. I could see Hutchinson. I could see Thibodeau, but I think they're going to go with Malik Willis to just quiet all the noise and begin the feeding frenzy of quarterbacks. I think it's going to happen. We'll see. So then we have the Texans. The buzz about the Texans right now is that they're in love with Derek Stingley of all people. So I can see Sauce, Stingley, Icky, Neal, an edge rusher, Hamilton. I can see anybody with the Texans because it all makes sense because they have so many holes. So I don't know. So, but let's say for a moment that we don't see one edge rusher go in the top 3. So we have a choice. Who's your choice? Who is it? Who is it? Who could be a bad selection? So is it Aiden Hutchinson, or is Aiden Hutchinson not the guy because of his preference of playing in a 2-point stance, standing up? Maybe he's not the guy. Maybe he's all hype. He only really had one great year. His sophomore year was okay. He was good. And then he opted out in 2020. So we don't really know what's going on, So is it Thibodeau? He was the consensus first guy for a long time. Then he did a couple interviews and all of a sudden people don't like him, So what guy happens? John Rogers says Hutch is the pick. L.A. McKay says Hutch is the pick. Mr. Magic's checking in, says Hutch is the pick. So does everybody agree with that? Does everybody think, what if the Jets chose Jermaine Johnson with their top pick? How do we feel about that? What if they do like Trayvon Walker better than any other edge rusher in this class? Now, we went over in last week's or 2 weeks ago now in my Green Beans Jets pod a lot of the downside of Trayvon Walker. We looked at the negatives of Walker, Johnson, Karlaftis, and Thibodeau, I think. So we saw there are things for him to work on. A lot of people wonder if he can even be a consistent pass rusher in the NFL, right? They think he's very good at the run, stout, very athletic, but is he going to be able to beat these offensive tackles in the NFL? Because he does not have a smooth transition from first move to second move. If he gets beat, he gets beat. That's generally what you see from him. Now, they can work on it with him. Maybe that's what they like about him. But, if they do take Trayvon Walker or Jermaine Johnson, is that a bad pick over Thibodeau or Hutchinson? And then you can look at, if Hutchinson and Thibodeau aren't there, who's the next guy for real? Like, let's say they draft Karlaftis. Are they making a bad move? Stephen Ingle checking in. Hutch or Tibbs at 4 or trade down. So what I'm hearing there, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you don't see the other edge rushers as worthy of a top 4 pick. You'd like to see them trade down a little bit and then see who's at 10 or see if you trade down to 9 or wherever you trade down to. That's what I'm hearing there. Mr. Magic says JJ is cool for me. Kevin Colligan says, I trust whoever JD picks, but I truly hope we get a legit pass rusher at 4 or 10. Yeah, I mean, well, that's kind of what we're discussing. I think I trust Joe Douglas as well, especially with Robert Saleh alongside of him, like to be able to identify who they think in their system is going to have the most bang for the buck. I do trust them. But as we are here today discussing this, I want to really hear I want to get a beat on where you guys are. Watch UK saying Elijah Moore draft hype video got him all kinds of hyped. Yeah. Elijah Moore. And when we talk about Debo before we wrap this up, all the trade talk of, the 49ers fans are nuts. There's no way we're giving 10, 35 and Elijah Moore. That's just nuts. Okay, Steven, I see what you're saying. John Rogers says Hutch, KT, or Karlaftis. It's a funny thing because if Hutch and KT aren't there, I'm all team Karlaftis. I would prefer Karlaftis over Jermaine Johnson or Trayvon Walker. But with even from my stance, if they drafted Jermaine Johnson, am I upset? Do I think they made a bad move? And that's kind of what I want to hear. That's what I want to understand here. Either way, jet up. That's right, Stephen Engel. Right. Let's see what see LA McKay, but happy to trade back at 4 if no Hutchinson or KT, which is Kayvon Thibodeau, and grab Karlaftis with 10. That's the interesting thing. Are you willing, if your top guy or top 2 guys are gone, right? If they're really gone, the first 3 picks, there's no Kayvon Thibodeau for us and there's no Aiden Hutchinson. And then they take Evan Neal or whatever else is in there. At 4, you have some calls. Maybe the Panthers want to get up there 2 spots. They don't have anything to give. They really don't. 4th. But let's say the Seattle Seahawks want to jump up or somebody. We know, look, we talked about that potential trade, which would be best case scenario for us. If we traded back with Seattle, got DK Metcalf and 9 for 4, maybe we throw in a 4th or something like that. I would do that in a heartbeat. But let's say we do that. Now we have 9 and 10, or maybe Washington, we have 10 and 11, and then you take the best edge rusher there at 10. It's a little bit more digestible if you don't love the edge rusher. But here's the thing. No matter how you slice it, just like was said a few minutes ago from, who was it? Kevin Colligan, all I really want is an edge rusher to come in and actually be a dominant edge rusher. That's all I want. If that means that we have to use 4, do it. If that means we can slide down to 10, do it. If it means that you feel like you have to give a 3rd to go up to 2, do it. Just get me an edge rusher. I don't care how we do it. I hope we don't have to give up additional assets, but all I want out of this draft, first priority, is get us an edge rusher we can be proud of. Somebody with double-digit sacks every single year who terrorizes quarterbacks alongside of Carl Lawson and Quinnen Williams and JFM. That's what I want. I want a pass rush, and I want it to come from this guy that we bring on the team this year. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. I don't know if that's correct. John Rogers insinuating that JD knows more than him. I don't know if JD spends half as much time looking at this stuff as we do. We're a little bit not right, Mr. Rogers. I prefer grit over glamour, so Hutch and Karlaftis all the way. I'm that way too. I don't know. That's not to say that the guys who are little bits of showboats or whatever, that they can't be great. We see them all over the place. But I tend to lean that way too. As long as the production is there, for me, as long as the production is there, I don't care. I really don't. You'd hope that they don't have trouble on the outside and all that kind of stuff. Remember Sheldon Richardson? He got caught doing 120 miles an hour with a 10-year-old in the car and a bunch of drugs, a bunch of weed or whatever it was. The car smelled like weed. And I don't need that shit, right? We don't want it. I don't want that stuff here. So Duncan McLean says, nobody knows who the best defensive end is. Check back in 2 or 3 years. I'm old enough to remember Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning discussion. Remember that? Happens all the time. Duncan, remember, there was a really strong defensive tackle draft class, very similar to 2019. It was the Quinnen Williams draft. That was a very strong defensive tackle draft. You had Ed Oliver, all kinds of guys. A few years ago, there was another strong defensive tackle draft. There was 5 or 6 guys taken in the first round. The Jets had 2 first-round picks. So rather than take a defensive tackle at our pick and then take another position or whatever and strengthen our team, we chose to use both of those picks to go up and grab a specific player. That player was Dwayne Robertson. And Richard Seymour would have been taken if we just stayed home. So, look, there are guys in this class. We love all these guys, but there are going to be guys in this class that we all think highly of now that bust or that become Jags. They're okay. Like, look at Dante Fowler, right? Dante Fowler was the 5th overall pick, right? Right before us. I think he was the 5th overall pick that year. And he ended up tearing his ACL or something in training camp, which was unfortunate, but he's never met that standard. Like, he's kind of a mercenary, right? He goes around, he does okay, he's a good player, but he was never been the guy. When he was coming in, they thought he was going to be a dominant edge rusher. Most people. Never happened. He's had good years. He's not a terrible player, but that can happen too. So let's see. Ant Jets, what's up? Green Bean, would you be upset if the first edge we take is Ebiketie or Mafe? Yes, I would. And not only because the player, Ant Jets, it's not because the player himself, but I know that they'll be there later in the draft. I know it. Now, not 100%. And guys go way earlier every year and all that stuff. But let's say the Jets think that Ebiketie is the number one edge in this class. Do you take him at 4 or do you trade back and take him in the teens? Because he's going to be there. He's going to be there. And then worst case scenario is somebody grabs him up top and then you get Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau at 10 or whatever it is. So, yeah, I would be upset, Ant Jets. Number one, I don't think he's as good as the guys we're talking about. But I know that you can get more value out of the draft if that's your target. So I'd like to see them do that. Dark Soldier. Good morning, Dark Soldier. He says, I completely trust JD. However, I'm nervous because I know half of this fan base will call for his head regardless of who he picks. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and you know me by now, so I've been saying this stuff for a while, but I'm going to tell you again right now. If Kyle Hamilton is there at 10, he is in play. And I think, unless they love Jameson Williams or something along those lines, I think if Kyle Hamilton is there at 10 and we got our edge at 4, that's going to be our pick. Now, maybe if Sauce is there too, they may choose. So I still think they're going to take Hamilton. And that's what's going to be funny to me, Dark Soldier. Because 9/10 of Jets fan base are going to lose their marbles. But imagine if Aiden Hutchinson slips to 4, which now we're hearing he might, and we take Aiden Hutchinson at 4, and then we get Kyle Hamilton at 10, then you make it to the second round, and you grab, a George Pickens if you're not afraid of his injury, or you grab Dotson if he slips past the Chiefs, which I don't think he's going to. I think the Chiefs take Dotson. Or, Linderbaum if he makes it past the Bengals, or, whoever. Christian Watson, one of these guys, Alec Pierce. You do that in the second round. Then you get, Leo Chanel, or Nakobe Dean is rumored to be slipping. Imagine that. Imagine what you do for your team if you grab a good wide receiver that can fit in the mix and do a good job this year, and you did edge, safety, the best safety in the draft by far, and then you did one of the top 3 linebackers in the draft, and then don't forget, you still got a third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths. You can get your offensive linemen and all that stuff down below in your running back. You would definitely use the third round for like an Isaiah Spiller or something like that. Imagine that. Like, think about that draft. Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, front and back end of the defense, help our cornerbacks out. Then you give CJ Mosley a partner. And then you give Zach Wilson another tool. Then you give him a running back. Then you give him some pipeline offensive linemen, maybe a second, swing at wide receiver. Get a Sky Moore or a Wan'Dale Robinson or a Kyle Phillips or something like that. Be incredible. Y2K saying 2 firsts and a 4 we traded. Oh, is that for Dwayne Robinson? Is that correct? Great. John Rogers, it's 11 p.m. here in Australia, and I'm so excited I can't go to bed. Want to pull an all-nighter, but I know. Listen, every all-nighter I've ever pulled, John Rogers, seemed like a great idea, and for the first little while it was. I've always paid the price. All-nighters, maybe you're younger than me, John, maybe you can do it, but even in my younger days, without a whole bunch of help, all-nighters didn't work. I always was miserable. Like I'm pulling an all-nighter to do the thing, and I was miserable. Get your rest. Take a melatonin and go to sleep. Let's see. L.A. McKay, would you rather trade up into the first if Linderbaum and first choice linebacker is there? Yeah. Like let's say we get, just for my purposes, you get Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Hamilton at 4 and 10. Then Linderbaum makes it all the way to 29. You know the Bengals are likely to take him, and you can move up to 29 for pick 111? Absolutely. 100%. Go get the best center in the draft for an extra fourth. Why not? Use 35 and 111, get up to 29. There you go. There you go. I would do that in a heartbeat if they want Linderbaum. Now, for me, maybe I'm okay waiting, but if there's a player, and that could apply to wide receiver too, maybe Treylon Burks is still there at 29 or 30, and you just say, hey, I'll give you the fourth. And you're like, hey, man, I had Treylon Burks is one of the top 3 receivers in the draft, but he's still there. It happens every year. Somebody slips. So I would do that. I'm a big fan of Treylon Burks, and I hope I would love for the Jets to come away with him in this draft. I would love it. I might even like it more than Jamison Williams. I don't know. I really do like Jamison Williams, but I just hate that he's going to miss the whole half of the year. Like Zach needs to come out of the gate running this year. What's up, Matt? Yeah, Dark Soldier doesn't like Hamilton. Oh, he's on my list, buddy. And we'll keep an eye on Hamilton, no matter how you slice it throughout his career. In a couple years, we'll all be talking about how we passed on him. You'll see. Absolutely, I can, Stephen. Absolutely. He's saying it as good as Hamilton is perceived. Can you really see a team take a safety early in the first? Absolutely. Why not? Safety is very valuable, man, especially a safety that can cover. He can go single high and cover the whole field. Has the instincts, has the athleticism to get to and fro. Dude, he's got the ball skills. He's got the attitude. He's got the size. He can lay the wood on the running plays. In addition to that, I mean, look, his weakness is that he's not the best in one-on-one coverage with these wide receivers, but that's why he's a safety. If he was better at that, he would be a cornerback. 6'4" cornerback. So that's the whole thing with him. That's what I like. I think, he's just like any rookie coming in, he's going to have to work on some stuff. But man, oh man, imagine our pass rush is getting home and flustering the quarterback. So his passes are rushed and are a little bit more erratic, and you have a ball hawking safety out there. Can you imagine, 8 to 10 picks a year from a guy just flying around grabbing the ball? Oh my God, I'd love it. Well, this is it, Duncan. This is kind of the motivation for this stream. It's like, as I sit here and think about this, if we do grab an edge rusher, is everybody happy with one of the top 5 edge rushers, right? So a lot of people are not. There are people that they would crumble if Jermaine Johnson was the pick, or Karlaftis. Karlaftis, most Jets fans, I think, are down on Karlaftis. Now, he has his supporters like myself, but most Jets fans look at him as like, the also ran. Oh, and Karlaftis was there. I think Karlaftis is going to be one of the better for longer in this draft. That's what I think. He may not burn as hot, but he's going to be more consistent. He's going to be that guy that gets double-digit sacks every year and makes his impact. He might not be 15 sacks a year, but anyway, so I think worst case for me would be if we took Derek Stingley, who his entire college career was riddled with injuries, and I just don't see that changing. I think he's athletic, all that. I do not want Derek Stingley. And I would hate to see us go interior defensive line in the first round. I would hate it. Like if we went Derek Stingley, Jordan Davis, I would be upset. I would be disappointed. Now, do I think those players are bad? No. I think Stingley's career is going to be riddled with injuries. That's what I think. I mean, if you want to see what somebody's going to do, look what they've always done. And it's just, where's the foundation to believe he's not going to do this? Where? Like, where does it come from? It comes from our imaginations. Like what you think, his work ethic, his athleticism. You have to go on hope. I don't want to go on hope with pick 4 and 10. You know what I mean? Michael Palermo, Green Bean, you're my age. Remember Kenny O'Brien over Dan Marino? Yeah, I do. Well, I don't remember it like I wasn't watching that draft or anything like that, but I remember that. I mean, we heard that how much? The rivalry between Ken O'Brien and Dan Marino every single time they played, which was twice a year for, almost a decade. We heard about it. Now, for the first couple years, Michael, Ken O'Brien looked like the better pick. He did. He led the league in passing the one year. So it looked like the good pick, but as we know, it was not. But Dan Marino didn't do shit either, man. You know what I mean? He got to a Super Bowl, so there's that, but he just had a bunch of yards. He didn't do anything. He didn't take his team to the Super Bowl perennially or anything like that. Like Elway was the good one out of that class. Elway, whole different thing. Let's see. Would you be happy to trade down at every pick if the trade favors the Jets every time? Get a heap of late picks and more high picks next year? 223 has 2 first and 2 second. Yeah. Here's the thing with that, John Rogers. While I'm a big lover of trade backs and getting additional firsts, at some point you have to use them. At some point. Unless you think that you can literally get seconds, thirds, and fourth round picks to be starters every single year, and you just keep using the first to get more later picks and stuff. But it's very dangerous. I think we spent a lot of time, 2 years, acquiring the assets to use this year. Now, if you bounce back and get another first next year, that's fine. But to keep trading back to where the talent pool is thinner, I just don't want to do that. Like I said all offseason, I want our freaks. Where are our freaks? Where's our TJ Watt? You know what I mean? Where's our Jamar Chase? That's what I'm saying. I want our guy. I want the Jets to have all pros and pro bowlers and guys that stay around a long time. That's what I want. And I think this is probably the year that we just want to go ahead and use these picks. That's what I'm saying. Wayne checking in. What's up? Hard to make a trade on the clock tonight. Can't give up number 10 without a physical taken. That's for like a Debo or something, right? Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Because then you trade 10. This hypothetically, he fails the physical and they already picked a player. What do you do? Think that's part of it. I don't think the Debo trade is happening. I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened. Now we hear about the Detroit Lions and the Jets are in there. If I was the Jets, if it was me, I'd say, all right, look, dude, I'm tired of the dance. Say yes or no now, or I'm out. So then you're going to have, and Detroit is offering, think a little bit less. They're offering a second, a third, and a fourth, or maybe 2/3 or something like that. But our offer is better if it's what's rumored, but I don't even want to give that up for him. I think we're offering 35, 38, and 111, right? Isn't that what we're offering? So I don't know. Let's see. Who else? R&R's checking in. What's up? This is going to be one of the greatest days in Jets history. I can't wait for tonight with you guys. Me too, R&R. rest and relaxation will not be tonight. That's not what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So, look, let me ask you guys. While I do agree it's going to be one of the best days, do you want, if you had the choice, 35, 38, and 111 for Deebo Samuel and $27 million a year? Would you do it? Yes or no? Give me a poll. Let me see here. Maybe I'll throw a poll out there. Can I do it? Let me see here. Hold on. Now I'm going to make a poll. Let me see. Oh, I can make a Jet Nation poll. Deebo for 35, 38. Yes or no? It's out there. I am a poll master. Yes, I am. All right. So we'll hang out for a few more minutes. This is nice in the morning to get to chat with you guys. And I wanted to make sure I got over to Jet Nation. As I told you guys earlier, you might not have been here. Jet Nation, a few people from Jet Nation are actually at the draft tonight. So Phil, the mastermind of Jet Nation himself, is actually at the draft. I was talking to him just a little bit ago. So yeah, he's excited, man. So, and this is the thing. I was actually supposed to meet Phil out there in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like I told you, I was heading up from Sedona to Yellowstone, and I was absolutely going to work it out that I just happened to be in Vegas right now. But now that I'm not, I'm upset. I'm down. I wish I was there. John Rogers, what's he saying? If you keep trading down and getting better value the following year, you could end up with every first round pick in 10 years' time. Then you would win the next 5. Yeah, but at some point you got to use them, John. That's what I'm saying. Look, there's a way to continue to accumulate mid-round picks. There absolutely is. You can definitely trade back from 4 or 10. There's going to be one taker, as long as you're not requiring that blockbuster deal like what the Niners did last year. The Niners traded 3 firsts and a third to move up. What was it? 9 spots, I think it was. 3 firsts and a third to move up 9 spots. Now, if you're requiring that, there are significantly less teams that are going to do it. But if you're saying, I'll slide back up to 10 spots for next year's first and a second round pick this year, and maybe a 5th, if you're going to do that, so you slide down 10 spots, you still have that pick, so you didn't lose your pick. You gained another pick for next year. You got an extra second. Like if you do that every year, if you're not trying to blow people's doors off and get the 3 firsts, you can always find a trading partner. Always. If you're the deal maker, you know what I mean? Hey, call Joe Douglas. He's the guy. He'll give it to you for less. Like there is a way, there is a thought process that supports that. Like my cousin sells cars. And rather than bring in cars and try to get top dollar at every car, he prices them to sell. So his whole mindset is quantity over quality. I'll sell 10 cars by the time the guy down the street sells 1. So he's got it for a 10% markup or whatever it is. I got it for a 4% markup, but I've sold 4% times 10, so I got 40%. Like that's the whole thing. So if you think about it like that, you're not going for the quantity, you're going for the quality. Or you're not going for the quality, you're going for the quantity. And you can do that. But it's risky because you're not guaranteed to get great players in the middle of the round. You're less guaranteed. But hey, man, I don't know. I'm with you, John. I get it. I just think Joe Douglas isn't an established general manager yet. You still got half the fan base calling for his head because they don't know what the hell they're looking at. You know what I mean? They want to fire the guy before he used the assets that he built to use. Like it makes no sense. No sense. So, hey, thank you, Hank. I know I pull it out every now and then, right? I'm not good at numbers, but I'm good at perspective. That's my whole thing. Perspective. Shifting perspective. My kids are dragging their ass waking up because they think I'm online. They don't have to get up. Come on, right? Let's see. Imagine the weekly mock drafts with all those picks. I know. That's funny. Salty Nuts. Good morning, John. He says, I agree, Green Bean. Time to use the picks. Now, if they move back a little bit from like 4 to 9, you get an asset, you get a future asset. I'm into it. But I don't want to see us continue to slide back, like you were saying, like move back with 4, move back with 10, and move back again. Like I don't know. I don't want to see that. I know. So King Blaze said that is too much for Debo. I gotta say, I'll check the poll now. There is a poll. I'll give it one more minute, so you guys can vote if it's too much for Debo. But in the meantime, I'll tell you, that's right on the line for me. I would probably say pick 35 and a third, like that. That's one. Or I'd say 10 for Debo and a fourth. Like that's what it is. And if you don't want it, get out of here. I'm going to pick Jameson Williams. That's that simple. You're up against the wall. The only reason that we're even talking is because Detroit's in the mix. Let Detroit give you more. Let Detroit do it. My trade is a better offer. It is. We're friends, the whole thing. But I'm not doing this with you. You got to get rid of the guy. He does not want to play for you. Whoever trades for him has to pay him over $20 million. Like, nope. I'm not giving you all that stuff. That's what I would say. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So you know what, Matt, before we go, I want to show you guys something. This is a good point. He says manipulating the draft only works during good drafts, not this year. Now people say, well, when's a bad draft? Let me show you guys something. Let me see. I think hold on. Let me see here. All right. The 2016, I'm going to share the screen right now with you guys. I want to show you guys something. All right. Now, when you look at this draft, it's the draft that we chose Darren Lee. Okay. And when you look at the draft, can you guys see this? Let me see. Where are you? All right. I'll make it a little bit bigger too. Hold on in a second. Look at the first round of this draft. Okay. Look at the top of it. The top of the draft, you had Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Ramsey, Ronnie Staley, and DeForest Buckner. Good draft. Okay. Then it starts to thin out. You had Larry Tunsil. He would have been up here too. He had that freaky weed mask thing. Then it starts to thin out. Keanu Neal was a first-round pick. Ryan Kelly was a first-round pick, okay? So here we are here. The Bills took Shaq Lawson, who we just had, and the Jets took Darren Lee. When you look at the rest of this draft from here on out, can you guys see it? Well, let me move this over just a little bit for you. Okay, there we go. When you look at this draft, like there are guys like Will Fuller, who's a good player. Look at who's next. Bust. Essentially bust. Paxton Lynch, bust. Then you get one defensive tackle. Look at all these guys. This is the first round, dude. An Ogba's okay, right? He's a decent player. And then you get a few more in the second round. But look at these guys. Sterling Shepard, like he's a nice player. Like there are some nice players, but this is a weak draft. Look at the top of the draft. After pick 7. Oh, here's Jack Conklin, I think is pretty good too. But like you have some nice players. But this is the kind of thing you can run into with a draft like now. Believe me when I tell you, and I remember I was watching this draft. I was paying attention to this draft in a similar way that we are now. Look, Sheldon Rankins, there he is. Eli Apple, bust. When you look at these guys, there were just as many people freaking out about Ronnie Stanley versus Jack Conklin. People were losing their minds over, you can't take Tunsil. I would take Conklin over Staley all day. All this stuff was going on. So look, you got 2 quarterbacks up top. Then you have 5 players, really, at the top of the draft. The rest of the draft is very hit or miss. You see this? And believe me, people like myself, I was hoping the Jets took, not in the first, but I was hoping that he slid. I kind of wanted the Jets to go Paxton Lynch. That's a quarterback needy we've been. But look, there are decent players, but not first round picks. Dude, this is where you think there are going to be your studs. Look at the wide receivers. What?
The second round, dude. Look at all that.
Yeah, there's a couple
Chris
guys.
Jones, Xavier,
Right.
Jalen Smith,
Mhm.
Henry Miles, Jack, Derrick Henry. Oh my
But the
God.
point is, it's not that you can't find good players. You're always going to find good players. But the point is that it's, remember Nassib? The point is that it's hit or miss in bad drafts, right? And this is considered now, looking back, a weak draft. Look, the Jets took Darren Lee, right? Here we are at pick 20. The Jets took Darren Lee. Who's really a better pick? This was, we needed a defense for Todd Bowles. That was the kind of guy. I mean, Darren Lee is a bust. He's absolutely a bust. He had an okay year here or there, but he's a bust. He's out of the NFL. Who's a better pick? Maybe Will Fuller, you could say. Not Doxson, not Treadwell. And who's a better pick for us? Yeah, obviously you look at Xavier Howard or Chris Jones. These are second-round picks. These aren't firsts. Hunter Henry, who I like. I'm saying there are decent players. You get the point, I hope. You get the point, I hope. Are you talking about Jets picks? I'm talking about the picks in general. All I heard was bust. Okay. Well, that's the thing. But there are other drafts where the first round is significantly stronger. You know what I mean? Look, have some fun. Look around at this stuff. This is the stuff I like to do at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? This is the stuff I like to do. I look around at the drafts, because I remember how we were. When I create and formulate my opinions for this draft, you know what I'm saying? I include the mess of 10 years ago, how everybody thought, the reasoning. And I remember the 2002 draft. Now, I wasn't involved like I am now, but I was still a guy paying attention to the players, reading all the articles. It wasn't like it is now with all this massive information and everything's just so accessible and Twitter. But I remember, man, people were saying the same thing that they're saying about Hamilton, about Ed Reed. Even in Baltimore, when they picked him, Baltimore fans and everybody was like, it's not exciting. We could have done much better in the draft. They weren't excited about Ed Reed. It's I guess we need him. That's what it was. And I wanted the Jets to get Ed Reed in that draft. That's who I wanted. I sat with me on my friend's couch and I said, come on, take Ed Reed. And we didn't. We took John McGraw later. The same thing everybody's saying now. Dude, just grab a safety in the second. I don't know if Hamilton's going to be Ed Reed. We don't know that. I'm just saying this argument has happened before. We've been here before. Now, most of the people I talk to on Twitter, all these young guys, most of them weren't paying attention like I was in 2002. Most. And they're like, you know what the fuck you're talking about, man? I'm like, okay, I've been here before. I've seen this argument. Matt Simon, so how many top players do you think are in this draft? Yeah, it's crazy. But that's why, these flash these guys that ignite right before the draft. I don't generally like those guys. Now, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't tradition. Hold on. What are you guys talking about? Just please do breakfast right now. Okay. What are you doing? Do some breakfast. So those guys like a Trayvon Walker, who the all the way through the season, all the way through the offseason, all the way through, they were just okay. And then at the very end, they just and flame up. I don't like that. I'm a slow and steady guy. I'm a guy who likes to watch everything go. Why is this guy tearing it up now when there's nothing to watch? Nothing additional. Now, you have the combine, you have pro days, right? So there's that. You have guys who need more time to get into players and say, oh, I just discovered Trayvon Walker. Okay. But I would rather go with the guys who are more rock solid for longer periods of time, at least the season. You know what I mean? Into the offseason. So it is a crapshoot. But the good organizations, McKay, the good organizations, the Ravens, the Steelers, it's a crapshoot, but why do they do better than everybody else every year? How come their third-round picks end up being stars in 3 years? Why? How come whenever they lose their wide receiver, the next guy up is just as good? Same thing happens with linebackers, defensive ends. I mean, look how many defensive ends were taken before TJ Watt. The Steelers got him at the back end of the first. Why is that guy? Now, you have the system and everything. That's good, but they're good at this. They know it's not as much of a crapshoot for them than it is for other teams. I want you to know that. Okay. So that's the whole thing. So it's a crapshoot, but it's less of a crapshoot for good teams. And that's what I'm hoping we have here. A true evaluation-based team that goes, this guy that we're going to get in the third is significantly better than who they're talking about in the first. We'll wait. We're fine. That's what I want to see. So, guys, you know as well as I do that tonight is the night. Now, I'm going to show you guys something. Oops. That's not it. Okay, yeah. All right, I thought I lost you guys. You guys know as well as I do, tonight is the night. Oh, there it is. And we are going to be together, okay? I want to make sure that you know we are going to be together. Now, where are we going to be together? Wait, I got to show you guys this video. Hold on. I don't know. I can't do it. Anyway, we're going to be at Jets Talk 24/7 from 7 o'clock p.m. tonight all the way through till Saturday. Now, we'll take breaks at night when the draft's not on and stuff, but we're going to be all the way through, man. If you need a place to go, if you're going to the MetLife draft party or you're going to see Sack Exchange in the Jet Lounge in Brooklyn, fantastic. When you come back, check in with us. Me, Ryan O'Leary, all night tonight. And then tomorrow and Saturday, it's going to be everybody from Jude Jets to Robbie Sabo, everybody in between. Everybody's coming on, and we're going to have a fantastic time. Jets Talk 24/7. I see I got a super chat here. Let me get to Edward Ziff before I bounce out of here. What's up, Edward? Thank you. Let's just use the draft capital we have and pick good players. No more kicking the can down the road. Let's just do it now and build this damn team. I'm with you, Ed. I really am. It's time to do it. We've spent the last 2 years acquiring assets and cleaning out Mike Maccagnan's garbage. This was the first year we didn't have dead cap from Maccagnan, and it's the first year or the last year that we have the additional assets that Joe Douglas built. Jamal Adams, Sam Darnold, Chris Herndon, Avery Williamson, Steve McClendon, all these guys that we traded and got rid of. This is the final year of us having those assets. It's time. Use them, build a juggernaut, and let's go surprise the NFL. Guys, I want to thank you for being here. This was good for me. A nice early morning draft day chat with my buds. There he is. Ron, what's up, buddy? There he is. I'll be at the lounge party, but we'll tune in. Yeah, we're going to check in with the lounge, Ron. We'll see what you guys are feeling maybe before the pick and after the pick. I hope you have a fantastic time. That is going to be epic. I was this close to going. I just can't pull it together with being in Virginia to get to Brooklyn and back. But I was this close. I had lunch with Sack Exchange when I was in Staten Island last week, and we talked about it. But you're going to have a blast, and I know you are, and I'm excited for you. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you what will feel like minutes. We'll be together again. With that all said, have a great day, and go draft.
High pressure in control. Man, that looks great.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. 78 degrees, Jets football, and we're winning. That's what's going on today. That's why everybody's so psyched. This isn't no happenstance. This is a guarantee, just like Joe Namath said. See that?
There are few things in life you cannot put a price on. Loyalty, tradition, fierce passion. Today is a gigantic family reunion because finally, they're back.